The men's basketball team would take on a new opponent for the first time when LSU visited the RAC, while the wrestling team had its home opener against up-and-comer Old Dominion. All of that and more is coming up on Sports Night.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Sports Night. I'm Allan Ling, and next to me is my analyst, T.J. Fiorillo. On this episode, we will have highlights from the men's basketball team's game against LSU, and also the wrestling team's home opener against Old Dominion.
Also, scores from the other teams in action over the weekend, but before we get into all the highlights, we'd like to remind you to watch this or any episode on demand at rutv.rutgers.edu. If you have any input for the show, you can email rutv_sportsnight at email.rutgers.edu.
The basketball team played host to a new opponent on Saturday night, welcoming LSU to the Banks for the first time. Let's go out to the RAC for the highlights.
Mike Rice and his Scarlet Knights looked to jump out to a 5-3 record early on in the season, and the freshman would help carry the play early on against the Tigers. Just over midway through the first half with the Knights trailing by a point, Eli Carter makes a nice move to his left and drills the deep basket to put the Knights up by a point. Later in the half, with Rutgers up 19-18, the Knights would force a turnover that freshman guard Miles Mack took the other way, getting the layup to go and one. Knights up by 3. Just under a minute later, sophomore forward Gilvitas Baruta would force the steal that found the hands of Carter, who pushes it ahead to Dane Miller, and he throws it down to build the lead up to 5 with 4.5 to go in the first half. Picking it up early in the second half with the game tied at 28, Jerome Seegears takes an awkward-looking pass, but nails the three-pointer to give the Knights the lead. Midway through the second with the Knights down by 1, Carter drills a three-ball from the corner to put the Scarlet Knights up by a score of 40-38. With just over a minute remaining and Rutgers clinging to a 1-point lead, LSU freshman guard Anthony Hickey hits a jumper that puts the Tigers up by a 1-point margin. But that lead would not last long, as Austin Johnson would draw a foul and sink both of his free throws to put the Knights back up by a score of 51-50. Back and forth we go, and again it's Hickey, who drives the lane and banks in a layup with just over 40 seconds to play. Down 3, Carter tries to deliver a three-pointer to tie the game, but fails to set himself up with a shot and loses control of the ball, which would ice the game for the Tigers. This loss is Rutgers' first at home on the season and drops them back to 4-4 on the year. Despite the 2 turnovers by Eli Carter, he turned in a solid performance, leading the Knights with 10 points and added an assist and a steal. Before fouling out, Gilvitas Baruta put in 8 points in just 20 minutes of action and had 3 steals and 3 boards. Forward Austin Johnson pitched in 7 points himself and led the team with 6 rebounds.
Another tough loss for the men's basketball team, who fell back to 500 with this defeat. What do you think went wrong for Rutgers?
Well, really, this is an uncharacteristic loss for Rutgers because they played such good defense. Mike Rice has stressed constant pressure and up-tempo defense since he arrived at Rutgers and expects his team to win when they hold opponents to just 36% from the floor. But the offense was not there again for them this game, which led to the defeat.
So staying on the offense, there was just one player that scored in double digits for the Knights. Talk about how they need more from the supporting cast.
Well, yeah, that's a really good point, Alan. And the fact that the team's now just 1-3 on the season when they only have one player scoring in double digits, it's definitely part of the equation. This team lacks a pure scorer right now, and it lost its inside presence when Gilvitas Baruta fouled out with a good chunk of time to go in the second half. So that really complicated the Knights' offensive effort going down the stretch.
What did Coach Rice have to say about the team's effort after the game?
Well, you can always expect this team to work hard because teams usually take on the personality of their head coach. And this team certainly values hard work, but this was really a missed opportunity for the Knights to beat a pretty good SEC opponent, and that's exactly what Coach Rice said in his press conference after the game. He said it wasn't like they didn't show up to play, but at the same time, the offensive execution has to be better if his team is going to succeed moving forward.
The team will next be on the court Monday, December 12th, when Monmouth visits Piscataway for a 7:30 tip-off.
We're going to be taking a short commercial break, but stay tuned because wrestling highlights and Night Report are coming right up. I'm T.J. Fiorillo, my co-host is Allan Ling, and you're watching Sports Night on RUTV.
Before there was a United States, a college was founded in the heart of New Jersey.
Before I became a CEO in the global marketplace.
Before I earned my Super Bowl ring.
Before I was hired as the apprentice.
Before I wow my audiences on stage.
Before I won the Pulitzer Prize.
I learned about the world.
I earned my degree.
I was a Rhodes Scholar.
I studied writing.
I motivate my students.
At Rutgers.
At Rutgers.
At Rutgers.
Jersey Roots, Global Reach.
Heads up, SAS students, the School of Arts and Sciences has changed its requirements. The SAS core curriculum has 28 goals grouped into 3 broad areas of focus. The first being 21st century challenges the graduates will face as global citizens and leaders. Students analyze contemporary global issues, issues of social justice, and study the relationship between science and social issues. The second focus is areas of inquiry. Students focus in areas of natural sciences, social and historical analysis, and the arts and humanities. The third focus is cognitive skills and processes. SAS students hone their writing and communication skills and develop their quantitative and formal reasoning skills. Students also expand their knowledge about the 21st century information economy. All SAS signature courses satisfy at least 2 of the 3 areas of focus. Only students enrolling in the School of Arts and Sciences beginning in fall 2011 will be required to complete the core goals. Together, these focuses help to prepare SAS graduates to meet any challenge. For more information about SAS core curriculum courses, please visit sas.rutgers.edu.
Millions of dollars are spent each year trying to protect businesses and people from cyber attacks. These efforts help ensure that the correct people and resources can access authorized data. College students may use computers every day for homework, research, Facebook, shopping, and other things. Here are tips on how to lower your risk of computer virus attacks. Keep your computer protected with an updated anti-malware protection. Choose wisely to whom you share information with online. Never allow businesses to store your financial information. Avoid using the same username and password for multiple websites. Never give your personal information out via email or phone.
Is money tight? Are you in need of money management? Budgeting money doesn't have to be a problem. There are many ways to watch your spending and save big. Start by tracking your spending.
Use some online tools. Mint.com has it's a free service. You can hook it up to all of your credit cards, your checking account, everything, and it'll actually analyze everything for you. So it puts it into charts, into graphs for you. You can actually track your spending.
Be sure you're not spending more than you have.
The biggest thing about budgeting is balancing what you have coming in with what you have going out and making sure that you're never spending more than what you have coming in.
Gather support from your friends and family.
Getting support and kind of getting a support network of friends and family that can say, do you really need that?
Don't wait till it's too late. Start managing your money today. For more information on money management, visit studentaid.rutgers.edu.
Before there was a United States, a college was founded in the heart of New Jersey. Before there were bowl games, the first college football game was played at Rutgers. Before there were cures for tuberculosis, Rutgers scientists discovered the breakthrough antibiotic. Before the Supreme Court's landmark ruling, a Rutgers alumna helped make the case for desegregation. Before the world changes again, Rutgers will be working on it. Rutgers, Jersey Roots, Global Reach.
Welcome back. You're watching Sports Night on RUTV.
After their impressive 2010-2011 season, the wrestling team finally welcomed an opponent to Piscataway after spending the first 3 weeks of the season on the road. The team posted Old Dominion in front of over 1,000 people at the rack this past Friday, looking to start their home schedule off with the win. Let's go to the highlights.
The wrestling team had a 3-1 record on its sights when it hosted unranked Old Dominion to the rack on Friday night, but would have to come back from an early deficit. We'll pick it up in the 133s where Mike DeMarco was able to use a technical violation in sudden victory to score a 3-1 decision over Scott Festejo. With Rutgers up 12-10 in the match, they would enter the biggest match of the night, placing two ranked wrestlers against one another in the 174-pound division. Rutgers' Greg Zanetti completely dominated 7th-ranked Tay Edwards for the minor upset victory in technical fall fashion, scoring Rutgers 5 big points in the process. 197-pounder Dan Rinaldi would put the nail in the coffin for Rutgers, using 2 minutes and 7 seconds of riding time to pave the way to a decision victory 9-4 over Joe Buddy to give the Knights 3 more points and seal the win. Rutgers improves to a 3-1 team record with the win over the Monarchs and won all but 4 of the weight classes in the team duel. Zanetti's technical fall scored big points for the Knights en route to the 20-13 victory.
The Knights get the 20-13 team win over Old Dominion. Tell us a little bit about how the Knights' opponents had performed heading into the Friday duel.
Well, the Monarchs were a good early season opponent for the Knights. They came into the duel with a 4-1 record and looked to upset their second consecutive top 20 team when they arrived at the rack. They hung around for a little while, which really struck a little bit of fear in the Rutgers faithful for quite some time.
It was really anybody's match right up until the 197-pound matchup. What was the turning point for Rutgers that helped them take the game?
18th-ranked Greg Zanetti led the path to victory for Rutgers as he was able to score 5 points for Rutgers with his 27-12 technical fall over 7th-ranked T. Edwards, which gave Rutgers the 7-point cushion it needed as insurance to get the win.
Zanetti is just one of many ranked wrestlers for Rutgers. How did the other individually ranked wrestlers do in the match?
Well, in addition to Zanetti, who we talked about earlier, 6th-ranked Scott Winston and 4th-ranked Mario Mason each scored decision victories over their unranked opponents, but 16th-ranked Billy Ashnault failed to record a victory against unranked Justin Laval by a score of 4-1. So he'll be looking to correct that heading into the team's next dual match.
That next dual match will take place on Saturday, December 10th, when the team takes on both Princeton and Rider on the road.
Another team taking on an out-of-state opponent this weekend was the women's basketball team, who flew down to Miami, Florida to take on their first nationally ranked opponent of the season.
The women's basketball team will be featured on this week's edition of Night Report.
The women's basketball team took on their first-ranked opponent when it traveled down to Miami, Florida to square off against the 9th-ranked Hurricanes. Coach Stringer's Knights entered the game with an 8-0 record and were looking to make a statement against Miami. The game was fast-paced and back and forth with 11 ties and 6 lead changes. Junior forward Monique Oliver had 23 points for the Knights, and senior forward April Sykes chipped in with 19 points of her own. Miami would take the contest in double overtime by a score of 92-81. Oliver and Sykes each had double-doubles, and Erica Wheeler had 13 points and 6 rebounds. The team will take on Fordham this Thursday when the Rams come to town. The game will start at 7:30 p.m. In conjunction with this year's Army-Navy football game, CBS has produced 10 webisodes to help raise money and awareness of their Showtime series, A Game of Honor. In the 8th installment of this series, the focus was shifted to Eric LeGrand, who suffered a neck injury during last year's game against the Black Knights at Giant Stadium. For every view on the webisode, CBS will make a donation to the Wounded Warrior Foundation. To view this exclusive segment, please visit cbssports.com/college football and click on the clip entitled Helping a Fallen Comrade, the LeGrand Story.
In other Rutgers news, the football team has accepted its invitation to take part in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl against the Iowa State Cyclones, which will take place on December 30th.
Next week, we will have a quick preview on the game between Rutgers and Iowa State, but that's all the time we have left for today. New episodes of Sports Night air each Wednesday at 10 p.m. on RUTV channels 8, 18, and 60. For more information, search RUTV Network on Facebook and also follow us on Twitter at Rutgers TV.
Next week, join us for our final episode of the semester, as we'll have highlights of the men's basketball game against Princeton and also of the women's basketball team's matchup against Fordham. For Sports Night, I'm T.J. Fiorillo. My co-host was Allan Ling. Thank you for watching Sports Night on RUTV.